The three-story building, which stood at number 36 Masi Street, Itafaji area of Lagos, came down at about 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, killing at least 15 persons.
Now, more than 50 others with various degrees of injuries were hospitalized. And TVC News' Theophilus Elama, who watched every step of rescue operations, tells us how it came to an end.
Wednesday, the 13th of March 2019, will remain indelible in the minds of residents of Masi Street, Lagos Island. A three-story building which was home to some, a business place to others, and a school to children collapsed, bringing sorrows in its wake. Residents gathered to watch a glimpse of the situation. Emergency responders were on hand, and locals joined in the rescue. Minutes later, a child was rescued. Then another child, and then yet another, causing wild jubilation. The governor of Lagos State visited the scene and promised to resolve the problem.
They are quite private school. Hey, those common private school here.
No, you know what? They are illegal, and we are going to close all of them. I've seen one in the other building. Don't worry. I've seen one in that building. We'll close them down.
Is going to government school. Even in that, the reason why people are going for government school, even in that class, there are 88 people. Please do something.
We'll do something. We'll resolve it. What is important for us to save life?
As the rescue operation went on, there was a problem: the crowd, which hampered rescue efforts. But despite the crowds, 50 persons were rescued. But the responders were adamant, continuing their rescue efforts into the next day.
If only the people can just move back. The police, they've done their best. The soldiers, they've equally made every attempt to let them understand that they need to be out of the scene. But they keep coming. They have this empathy, and the thing is that it's full of emotion.
We spoke with one of the residents of the apartment.
We all left, myself and the children, I've taken them to school, so I went to my own place of work. I was even in the church when they called that the building has collapsed near a public toilet in Itafaji. I said, is that true? Somebody else called me because I called one of two people to come work with the pumping machine that is not functioning well. So the man called me and asked, are you at home? I said, I'm not around. But my grandpa and my sister, the two of them were around, but they rescued them all.
Governor-elect of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was among dignitaries that visited the scene.
It's an unfortunate situation. There are no thoughts, there's action. It's not a thought that will begin to say what's thought. Life has been lost. I think it's a call to action. It's something that it shouldn't happen, right? So all government agencies that are involved should sort of like speed it up. If they have other buildings that have been compromised in one way or the other, it's for us to go out there, you know, and do the rightful thing. I've been to the hospital, I've seen that there are real fatality, you know, and my condolences are to the families, you know, and to the, you know, innocent children.
General Manager of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Tiamiyu Adesina, said work has reached ground zero, but he declined to provide casualty figures.
The state government has decided that the Ministry of Health should handle that. So whatever release the state government issue, I sign on to.
For 33 hours, TVC News kept our viewers spellbound as to yet another avoidable tragedy of a building collapsing on Lagos Island. A three-story building stood here, but today it has been reduced to ground zero. Some died in it. Some were fortunate to have been pulled out of the mangled rubble that was stone and steel to get to hospital. Some not so fortunate, including a 10-year-old boy whose life came to an end on his birthday. The story moves away from the ground zero to the collateral damage this tragedy has wreaked on unsuspecting victims. The question is, what next for them? How will they be resettled and get on with their lives? So many buildings around here are marked for demolition. Some have pulled a fast one and repainted the building to evade the arm of the law. TVC News will continue its coverage of this story, which has developed several legs, and we will keep you updated. Theophilus Elama, TVC News, Lagos.
Our reporter, Bosede Omoyi, joins me now live from the scene of the collapsed building. Bosede, it's good to have you join me right now. It's 2 days after the tragic incident. Have all debris been cleared from the scene of the incident?
Well, right behind me is what used to be 36 Massey Street, the three-story building. It's been leveled now as a result of that collapse. But then we can still see personal effects. There's a fridge over there. There are some warmers right here. There are some bowls. There are some kegs and all of those. So this is what used to be. The debris are still here. I believe that would be done in no time to clear off. But then this place has become a monumental site of some sort, because I have people gathered around just to having a feel of what this place looks like, comparing this to what it used to be before Wednesday 13th when the building came crumbling. And if you can look just right there, that is another building. It is behind what used to be the three-story building on number 36 Massey Street. I understand people are still residents in that place, and as you can see, it's just kept on the side now by some planks, if you can see right over there. So there is still concern about what safety measures people are putting in place and into consideration in where they stay around this place.
While a lot of Nigerians are still concerned about the tenants who were resident in the building, what information are you getting? Where are they now?
Well, as of yesterday, for instance, we spoke to a relative of one of them who mentioned that even if that place was refixed, she wouldn't allow her relatives go back there, that she would rather take them to her own home. This morning, we haven't seen any of the tenants just yet, but then, of course, they would have looked for other places to be, maybe with their relatives or friends or people who are just willing to have them in for the time being. But as we speak, we still have security operatives around. Officials of the Lagos Neighborhood Security Watch are still here. They've been taking turns. Some officials come, relieve others, and then so that the watch can continue and people will be prevented from crossing the yellow line.
How about the landlord, the one who owns the entire structure that went down? Any news or hint as to what next for him, or what engagement is there between he and the government or anything?
Well, we understand that the man himself was rescued. One of his children mentioned that he has been rescued. At the moment, we do not know if they have an interaction with the government, but of course, he will be one major suspect in this matter. And as the government has said that it will leave no stone unturned in dealing with perpetrators, as well as in bringing down buildings that have been marked for demolition, then we hope that there will be interactions between them, and then we would know what the way forward is.
Now, rescue operation at the site of the collapsed building at number 36 Massey Street, Itafaji, have been concluded after frantic efforts to save victims.
The building came down at about 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. 15 persons are confirmed dead and about 50 others were hospitalized. And we told you that 3 of the victims have been discharged and returned home.
There has been an increasing call for government to show seriousness in the enforcement of the state's housing policy. Well, we are being joined by the chairman of the Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers Lagos chapter, Taiwo Elegba. Thank you for joining us. Construction in Lagos is seen to be poorly regulated, and like this, we were told in the report, the building was marked for demolition. But then, how do you determine that that the structure is poor or weak, or how do you determine the strength of a structure, and how do we get all of this regulated in Lagos, especially?
Well, first of all, I think there are policies about regulation, but knowing Nigerians for what we are, we try to cut corners. We don't do what we are supposed to do. If I'm a builder, if I'm a registered builder, I should have qualified people working for me, and I should be registered by the concerned authority in Lagos State. But you see so many of these builders, they are not registered, or they put take papers to government. Now, I have this one, I have this guy. It's a tested concrete mixer. I have this equipment, and they don't have all that. That's that. And then again, the person that is designing the structure himself is most probably not a structural engineer. You know, it's a building, a structure has life cycle.
Yes.
You start from the concept, the design. Then from the design, you do the construction. Inside construction, you do procurement, and then people are going to use.
So knowing all of this, how is your body checking the activities of these quacks, if we may call them that?
Yes, the problem with the quacks is that you cannot even deal with them because they are not your member. They don't belong to you. If as a structural engineer, I design a building that collapses, that so many organizations can deal with me. If someone is a quack, who is going to deal with him apart from the government? If the government can. But
isn't this a source of worry to your organization?
It is. We have been talking about it. I mean,
beyond talking, what steps are you taking to ensure that these people are, totally wiped out, or
yes,
the activities are checked?
Yeah, it's not even the institution of structural engineers that are doing this. We go around, we look for, drawing that we think are danger to the public. We note them down and then report to appropriate authority. Then Koren themselves, Koren is the council responsible for engineering in Nigeria. They have what is called ERM, that in Lagos, they have 5 inspectorates. They have VI, Victoria Island, that cover this Lagos Island. They have Ikeja, they have, different places, 5 who are responsible, to look around. Okay. And there is a form that circulated amongst them, that even as an engineer, or as an architect, or as whatever, a professional in the built environment, if you see a structure that you think is a danger, there are addresses for you where you can.
Okay, where you can call and all of that. Now let's look at the peculiarity of Lagos Island. Some have, according to some reports, it is said that the rising sea levels is also a challenge to buildings there. How so?
Yes. The rising sea level means that things are changing. The place is not the way it used to be before, and it happens everywhere. It's not, these changes may not even be because of rising sea levels. The first thing is that things must be done appropriately. There must be soil investigation. That some soil investigation were carried out maybe 25 years ago. You want to build you want to construct another building near the same place, you must do another soil investigation. Like you said now, the sea level is rising. That means something has changed. So you cannot use the result of a test you did 25 years ago, and then you base your design on it today. And again, if you go back to Lagos, we see that these buildings that are collapsing on the island are buildings that were constructed maybe 25 years, 20 years ago, when these developers, when they came to town. There are older houses in Lagos.
That are still very strong. Very
old houses that are still there. If you go to around campus, if that about Macaulay, in fact, it's a building that is listed, you can't touch it. It's still standing there, and it's about 3-4 stories. It's there, nothing has happened to it. It is because now, people are cutting corners. The regulation is not, very intact.
All right.
That's the thing.
Taiwo Elegba, thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.